Grandma, I feel like having cake today. Is it? Very well. Let me tell you a story about a bakery today. But shh, just listen. Tina had not planned on walking into the alley. It was the middle of a slow, stifling Wednesday in the flower market, where rickshaw horns blared like angry bees, and the scent of marigold sting clung to her hair like sweat. She had just bought 2 kilos of potatoes and a bunch of coriander that was already wilting in her cloth bag. Her throat was parched, her feet sore. Maybe that's why she noticed the lane. It was tucked between a chai stall and a shuttered tailor shop. So narrow that if you weren't desperate for shade, you might miss it entirely. But she turned. The lane was twisted sharply, like a spine cracked in the wrong way. The further she went, the cooler it became. It should have smelled of urine or mildew like the rest of the old town. But it didn't. Instead, a gentle warmth hung in the air, sweet and savory, like something was being baked behind a closed door. The scent was thick: flour, caramel, jelly, jeera, ghee, and something deeper. Something toasted, familiar. She followed the smell. At the curve of the lane stood a bakery that looked as though it had been dropped from another time. Its wooden signboard arched and cracked. It read, "Sweet Dreams," in faded golden cursive. The iron bells were tied to the handle with a lavender thread. Through the foggy glass, she saw a faint movement. The scent pulled her forward. The bells didn't ring when she stepped in. The warmth inside felt like a mother's lap, dense, soft, and utterly comforting. The shop was small, lined with wooden racks that bowed under the weight of baked goods. Rows of khari biscuit, brown and flaky. They were stacked beside the trays of sourdough buns filled with methi and cheese, their crust blistered and golden. A small cake sat near the back, not frosted, but dusted with powdered sugar and studded with cloves and candied orange peel. A harmonium played somewhere, soft and clumsy like a lullaby played by someone with shaky fingers. And then came a voice. "Oh, a child has come hungry, has she?" Tina turned and saw her. The woman emerged from the shadow behind the counter, hunched so low that her spine made a perfect curve. "Like you, Grandma?" Yes. Her skin was dry and caked like overbaked pie crust, and her long silver hair spilled from the disheveled bun. She wore a flour-stained apron that hung to her ankles and moved like it was soaked in butter. Her eyes, small and black, gleamed with the kind of mischievous warmth. Tina opened her mouth, unsure what to say. The woman's smile, though, widened. "Of 'cause you don't know why you're here, but your feet knew, they always do. The woman didn't speak so much as she sang, each word spilling out like a lullaby left out in the rain. Her voice rose and fell with a melody only she seemed to know, as if the sentences were stitched from the remnants of a forgotten rhyme. I didn't even. I was just looking for something warm, something kind, something baked, not fried, not frozen, not bitter, you poor creature. The old woman interrupted, and Tina blinked. The counters were filled with pastries she had never seen in the city bakery. There were ajwain crackers dipped in ghee, rose thyme bun rounds, and a delicate-looking fruit bread rolled with chunks of guava and hints of cumin. A tin tray held paneer and pepper puffs, their crust split at the corners as though they were smiling. Go on, pick one, don't be shy. How much? No money here, you pay in taste, that's the only price. Tina's hand moved on its own. She pointed at the modest-looking mascarpone with a glistening cardamom glaze. Wise choice, the woman sang, wrapping it in a wax paper and sliding it into a brown box. A lilac ribbon curled around on its own, like it had been charmed. Thank you, Tina mumbled, backing away. Sweet dreams, love, the woman said as Tina reached the door. The bell still didn't ring when she left. Outside, the sun felt harsher. The market noise returned like a slap, but the box was still warm in her hand, the scent of the bun rising through the paper. She felt oddly calm, as if her thoughts had gone quiet. That evening, she made tea and unwrapped the bun. It was still warm. When she tore it into half, steam escaped like breath. The inside was filled with a pale green cardamom cream, light and fragrant, not overly sweet. She took a bite. The crust gave away with a whisper. The cream melted against her tongue, and for a moment the world ceased to matter. She fell deep asleep, faster than she had in months, and dreamed. It was soft at first. She found herself walking along a quiet river bank under a sky streaked with orange and purple. Wooden boats floated by, each carrying trays of baked banana and coconut rolls glazed in honey. She picked one up and took a bite. The pastry was warm and moist, its center thick with fruit and jaggery. She didn't question the dream. She just ate. She woke up the next day with the taste still on her tongue. Besides her pillow sat a roll, exactly as she had seen it. Still warm, still fragrant. She stared at it. Then, without a word, she ate it. The next night, the dream returned. Only now she was in an old train compartment with velvet seats. Her fingers brushed against a tin box, and inside were buttery methi biscuits. that left a cool tingling on her lips. In the morning, the same biscuit sat on her kitchen counter in the same box. The third night, she walked through the garden of ladder and ropes. A table waited under a fig tree set with herbed buns stuffed with onion and green chili. She remembered the crunch, the warmth, the tears the spices brought to her eyes. She woke up grinning. On the dining table was a plate, and on it, 5 of those very buns, still steaming. She stopped going to the market after that. The fridge emptied itself slowly. There was no need. Her dreams fed her. But a month later, the tone had shifted. A dream took her to a theater with red velvet seats, empty but echoing with applause. A giant savory puff sat on stage, folded on itself like a dying lotus. When she bit into it, something chewy pulsed beneath the flaky crust, a mix of sweet tomato and raw garlic. It burned her tongue and she couldn't finish it. When she woke up, it sat on her bed in a parchment-lined box, half eaten. She left it untouched. That evening, the lights in the kitchen flickered. The fan spun in the wrong direction. Her tea tasted faintly metallic. Still, the dreams continued. The food kept coming. Ajwain-laced crackers, spiced roll with tamarind glaze, ginger garlic twists. Some were delicious, others strange. But none were inedible, not yet. Then came the week where she found herself walking in odd places. Once on the floor with her hand deep in a loaf of sourdough stuffed with raw Karela. Another time her mouth filled with crumbs she didn't recognize. Her sheets smelled like stale milk. She began locking her bedroom door, but it didn't help. One morning she woke up to find a message stuck to her bathroom mirror, scrawled in thick pink icing. "No skipping meals, love." Another day, she caught her own reflection chewing, though her mouth was still. She tried to find the alley again, but it was gone. Where Sweet Dreams Bakery once stood was now only a broken pipe with a lilac ribbon tied to a sad little bow. No harmonium, no scent of caramel, just dry silence. That night her dream pulled her deeper. She stood in the bakery itself now, but it was wrong. The counters were gone, the shelves sagging. The racks held things that still looked like food, but weren't. A bun was breathing, in and out, in and out. A biscuit bled something dark. A cake split open like a wound, and puffs full of hair and filth. On the table in the center sat her own head, mouth agape, eyes open, crumbs stuck out of the corner of her lips. She woke up screaming. But her throat made no sound. Her tongue was coated in jam. Now the oven turns on by itself every evening. There's no fridge, just a cooling rack that fills itself at night. with pastries, breads, and buns, each fresh than the last. Tina does not go out anymore. She doesn't eat anything but what arrives from her dreams. Sometimes she hears a harmonium playing behind the walls. Sometimes she feels an old woman's cracked hands press down on her shoulders as she sleeps. The neighbors say her window smells like a bakery. Some evenings they see smoke, sweet and fragrant smoke, curling from the kitchen vent. And if you walk by her house just before dawn, you might hear the hum of a lullaby and the scrape of a tray being pulled out from the oven, and a whisper, light as sugar dust. Fresh batch, my love. Sweet dreams. That was scary. Where do you get these stories from, Grandma? Oh, I have my ways. Dead people talk a lot if you know how to listen. Sometimes I listen at their grave. Shh! They are still listening.